A 35-year-old man, in order to pursue the woman who once made his heart flutter in his youth, his so-called white moonlight, actually abandoned his wife and gave up his family. He thought that reuniting with his long-lost first love would lead to a blissful marriage. Yet his act of betraying and abandoning those who truly loved him soon brought him the punishment he deserved. The man now furiously trampling a bouquet of roses on the ground is named Chen Jing. Not long ago, his girlfriend of 10 years, Wei Li, suddenly broke up with him. Trying to save their relationship, Chen Jing came with a bunch of roses to beg for forgiveness. But instead of letting him in, Wei Li shut the door in his face, threw out all his belongings, and completely drove him away, leaving him with nothing. 10 years of devotion ended with him being kicked out onto the street. Chen Jing squatted by the roadside, filled with grief and unwillingness to accept the truth. "I gave everything for her for 10 years, he murmured bitterly, "and all I got in return was being thrown out with just a bag like a homeless child." The once happy and complete family was torn apart because Chen Jing was trapped in his obsession with the white moonlight from his past. In the end, it led to his wife leaving him, his son being separated, and even his father losing all hope in him. His father angrily declared that he would cut ties completely. But even when things had come to this point, Chen Jing remained stubborn and delusional. He firmly believed that his relationship with the white moonlight was true love. In his desperation, he even invited reporters, hoping they could help him win her back. "He was my first love," Wei Li told the reporters. "Because of him, I gave up school, and I even divorced my husband for him." Chen Jing explained to the journalists that he and Wei Li had been classmates in middle school.
只是当时两人一个全校公认的校花，一个是班级里的小透明。
At that time, she was the school's publicly recognized beauty, while he was just an invisible, ordinary boy in the class. His youthful inferiority complex made him too afraid to approach the girl he admired, so he kept his love hidden in his heart. Every day he secretly followed Wei Li, watching her every move from a distance. Although they barely spoke to each other in daily life, Chen Jing developed an intense sense of possession toward her. Whenever he saw another boy trying to get close to Wei Li, he would corner the boy and beat him up. Before long, he was expelled from school because of his violent fights. That expulsion also meant losing the only chance he had to see Wei Li. This incident became the root of Chen Jing's lifelong obsession and regret. He thought they would never cross paths again. But years later, at a class reunion, fate brought him face to face once more with the woman he had secretly loved for so many years, the unattainable white moonlight. By that time, Chen Jing was already married and had a child. Wei Li, too, had her own family. Yet unable to let go of his obsession, Chen Jing decided to divorce his wife.
他认为这是老天在给他弥补遗憾的机会，如果错过这个机会，他一定会后悔终身。
He believed that this was destiny giving him a second chance to make up for his past regrets. He thought that if he missed this opportunity, he would regret it for the rest of his life. After some effort, he managed to get Wei Li's contact information. Their conversation began with polite messages and slowly turned ambiguous. Under Chen Jing's persistent pursuit, Wei Li finally agreed to divorce her husband. Thus, the two of them naturally got together. After becoming a couple, Chen Jing gave her everything he had. Whatever Wei Li wanted, he made sure to fulfill. For her, I bought clothes worth 10,000 yuan, a ring worth 10,000 yuan, and shoes worth 8,000 yuan, Chen Jing confessed. I never even blinked an eye when spending that money. Even when I didn't have enough, I borrowed money just to give it to her. Whatever she wanted, I found a way to get it. Besides brand-name clothes and jewelry, Chen Jing also bought her a 120-square-meter apartment in the city center. To prove his sincerity, he registered the property under only Wei Li's name. But that decision became the source of conflict with his parents, ultimately leading to them cutting ties with him. Because the money used to buy the apartment came from selling his parents' house without their knowledge. When his parents found out, they were furious and told him, "If you insist on being with her, then don't ever come back again." Thus, driven by obsession and delusion, Chen Jing lost not only his family, but also the love he had tried so hard to chase. Unless you force me, are you still going to sever mother-son ties with him? Forget about the mother-son relationship. Forget it, forget it. The parents cannot understand their daughter-in-law is gentle and filial. The grandson is obedient and sensible. So why would their son do something so absurd as betray his family and abandon his wife? Facing his parents' objections and pleading, Chen Jing did not repent. Instead, he treated his parents as obstacles in his pursuit of true love. In his view, whatever his parents did was an attempt to ruin his happiness. Watching the son they had raised with so much effort, they could not believe he would accuse them for raising him and then shout at them. His mother could not hold back her tears and began to cry uncontrollably, but her tears did not bring Chen Jing back to his conscience. He used violence to drive away his own birth mother and even declared that he would cut ties with them. Chen Jing had once believed that his sincere devotion would win his girlfriend's lifelong commitment, but he never expected that Wei Li only accepted his material offerings and still refused to marry him.
在两人相恋的10年时间里，陈静无数次提出想让女友给自己一个名分，但每一次都被魏丽拒绝。
During their 10 years together, Chen Jing had asked countless times for Wei Li to give him a formal status to make him official, but each request was rejected, and the two fought many times because of it. Then, 2 months ago, Wei Li suddenly proposed breaking up. One reason was that Wei Li's micro-business had run into trouble and, because of poor management, she had accumulated a debt of 180,000 yuan. She asked Chen Jing to help share the burden of this debt. Chen Jing agreed, but on the condition that she marry him. Wei Li angrily accused him of taking advantage of her in a vulnerable moment and then broke up with him. Chen Jing could not understand why, after a 10-year love marathon, his girlfriend still refused to start a family with him. At that moment, he suddenly remembered that not long before they split, they had had an argument over trifle matters, and Wei Li had accused him of not being romantic. Thinking of that, Chen Jing ran without stopping to a flower shop. He carefully selected a bouquet of blue roses, planning to propose to her.
见到女友后，陈静当即捧着花单膝下跪，可魏丽脸上却没有丝毫欣喜，反而写满了不耐烦。
When he saw his girlfriend, Chen Jing immediately knelt down with the flowers in his hands, but Wei Li's face showed not a trace of joy, only impatience. "You've taken the money and signed away everything," she told him. "You don't understand that was your business. Once you signed, it's done. You don't get anything." It turned out that Wei Li and Chen Jing had already, 2 months earlier, signed a breakup agreement in the presence of police at the local station. The agreement clearly stated that Wei Li would make a one-time payment of 400,000 yuan as a breakup fee, and thereafter the two would have no further ties. Now that Chen Jing had taken the money, he kept coming back to cause trouble every few days, seriously disrupting her normal life. Wei Li hoped Chen Jing would honor the terms of the agreement and let them part amicably, but Chen Jing believed that a mere 400,000 yuan could not compensate for the 10 years he had devoted. "We signed the marriage certificate. The house was all written down as his. Besides money, I gave him everything. I bought him clothes worth 10,000 yuan, a ring worth 10,000 yuan, shoes worth 8,000 yuan. Show me your proof." Chen Jing counted every penny he had spent on Wei Li over the past 10 years. Wei Li, however, reacted emotionally and exposed his lies.
原来陈静当初追求他是一直谎称自己是富二代，但事实上他的家境十分普通，哪怕他卖了父母的房子。
It turned out that when Chen Jing first pursued her, he had always lied about being from a wealthy second-generation family. In fact, his family background was very ordinary. Even if he had sold his parents' house, the money would not have been enough to buy a downtown apartment. That 120-square-meter apartment was purchased with money contributed by both Wei Li and Chen Jing. Chen Jing had only paid a 100,000 yuan down payment and had done some renovations. The remaining 300,000 yuan of the down payment, as well as the mortgage of tens of thousands of yuan per month, were all borne by Wei Li alone. "You know we're the ones constantly pushing him morning, noon, and night. Without me, he wouldn't do anything." After he moved in, he borrowed tens of thousands from others and lived a high life, then stopped working, Wei Li told reporters. Since they got together, Chen Jing has been irresponsible. Every day he either drank and partied with friends or lazed in his room sleeping. He had no steady job, paid no attention to the household affairs, and showed none of the responsibilities a man should have. What Wei Li could not tolerate most was Chen Jing's violent temper. Whenever he was in a bad mood, he would beat her. "Why would you want to hit him?" someone asked. "It's not that I couldn't reason with him. He would always be so aggressive and overbearing, making me tremble. He used to push me out. He threatened me with a knife. He said, 'I'll kill you,' and choked me. I didn't take a knife to cut him." The conversation conveyed the fear and pain she endured. Before we dive into all of this, let us know in the comments where you're watching this video from. Connecting with viewers across the world is a huge source of inspiration for us.
这种堪比仇人一般的生活让魏丽感到心力交瘁。
This kind of life, filled with hatred and exhaustion, made Wei Li feel completely drained both physically and emotionally. In her eyes, Chen Jing's so-called true love was nothing more than a pathetic excuse to justify his sick and obsessive need for control. "He knew exactly what time I came home every day," Wei Li said. "In the morning, he knew where I went. Every step I took, he could even have a car follow me wherever I went. It reached that level." When the reporter asked how long this situation had lasted, Wei Li replied that it went on for a long time. Reporters later discovered that Chen Jing had an extreme desire to dominate and control. To monitor her every move, he not only installed surveillance cameras outside their home, but also placed cameras in the living room, bedroom, and even the bathroom, forming a 360-degree, no blind spot surveillance system. "What is this?" the reporter asked. "It's a WeChat camera," Wei Li answered. "Where was it installed?" "In my bedroom," she said, pointing to a small device. "So it's aimed directly at the bed?" "Yes," she replied, "exactly at that angle." This meant that anything she did in that room, any private moment, was under his watch. Such controlling behavior made Wei Li feel suffocated beyond imagination. She ignored Chen Jing's seemingly affectionate pleas and firmly demanded that he take his belongings and leave immediately, or she would call the police. Her firm attitude completely broke Chen Jing's composure, but to everyone else, his extreme actions looked nothing short of childish. At 35 years old, he still had not learned how to be mature or rational. In the end, this love that had lasted 10 years finally came to an end. Chen Jing could not understand why. After he had sacrificed everything, giving up his once happy family, cutting ties with his parents, and dedicating his all, he ended up penniless and homeless. "I gave everything for her for 10 years, he repeated bitterly, "and now all I have left is a single bag and nowhere to go." A long-term intimate relationship should be built on mutual respect and equality, yet Chen Jing's excessive suspicion and control destroyed all trust between them. It made Wei Li feel deeply oppressed and suffocated, and that suffocation became the root cause of their breakup. In the name of love, Chen Jing abandoned his happy family, even sold the house his parents had worked their whole lives to build, and in the end, he was left with nothing but isolation and regret. In life, we must always remain rational and clear-headed, cherish the people in front of us, and weigh the consequences of our actions, because a single moment of impulse or blind obsession can destroy both our happiness and our future.
你自己挣点钱，你自己心里。你有本事，你天天就别提我姐这房子。
You can't even make money yourself, then go buy one. If you're so capable, don't keep bringing up my sister's house every day. Stop talking about it. If you really have the ability, go and buy one yourself. Can't afford it? Then stop complaining and just buy it if you can. The woman shouting these words hysterically is named Xiao Yan, and the man sitting across from her, his face full of helplessness, is Mr. Sun, her newlywed husband. This couple, who should be basking in the sweetness of their honeymoon, instead found themselves in an unprecedented quarrel, all because of a house. And it all began with Mr. Sun's sister's generosity. When Mr. Sun got married, his sister not only covered all the bride price, but also paid every single expense for the wedding banquet and hotel, and even generously gifted a wedding apartment worth 1 million yuan. On top of that, she thoughtfully prepared a car as a gift for her new sister-in-law. Mr. Sun was deeply grateful for his sister's kindness. However, given that he and his new wife did not have the financial means to purchase their own home, the couple decided after discussing with each other to temporarily move into the house that his sister had given them. They planned that once their financial situation improved, they would buy a new home that truly belonged to them. At that time, Xiao Yan fully understood and supported this arrangement. She agreed that it was a sensible decision and even expressed gratitude for the sister's generosity. However, after the wedding, Xiao Yan's attitude changed drastically. Just 2 days after their marriage, she suddenly made a shocking demand. She insisted that her name be added to the property certificate of the house that Mr. Sun's sister had gifted them. Otherwise, she would file for divorce. "I've been trying to save money for you and now I've become the bad guy, haven't I?" she shouted angrily. "You think it's fun saving 1 or 2 yuan every day like this? Does it make any sense? If you can't stand it, then make more money. If you don't want to live like this, then don't. Love or not, it's up to you." The argument escalated quickly. The scene turned chaotic, a woman screaming with anger and a husband sitting in silence, powerless to respond. This newlywed couple, who had once promised to share their lives and happiness together, now stood on the verge of collapse. And all of it, every word, every tear, every resentment stemmed from a house that was originally given out of love and generosity by a sister who only wanted her younger brother to have a good life.
反正都是一家人了，加个名字而已，我也没有说要我一个人独占。我觉得加上我名字多大一点事儿，都是一家人了，很合理吧？
现在这个房子名字是谁的？
他姐。
You can't even earn money yourself, then go buy one. If you're that capable, don't mention my sister's house ever again. Stop bringing it up every single day. If you think you're so great, go buy one yourself. What? Can't afford it? Then go buy it if you can. This furious voice belongs to a woman named Xiao Yan, and the man sitting across from her with a helpless expression is Mr. Sun, her newlywed husband. This couple, who should be enjoying the sweetness of their honeymoon, has instead fallen into a fierce argument all because of a house. It all started with Mr. Sun's sister's generosity. When Mr. Sun got married, his sister not only paid for the bride price, but also covered all the wedding banquet expenses and even gifted them a house worth 1 million yuan. On top of that, she thoughtfully gave her new sister-in-law a car as a wedding gift. Mr. Sun was deeply grateful for his sister's kindness. Since he and Xiao Yan were not yet financially capable of buying a home, they both agreed to temporarily move into the house his sister had given them, and once their finances improved, they would purchase a place truly of their own. At that time, Xiao Yan had fully supported and understood this plan. She appeared gentle, considerate, and agreeable. However, shortly after the wedding, her attitude changed dramatically. On the second day after their marriage, Xiao Yan suddenly made an outrageous demand. She wanted her name added to the property certificate of the house that Mr. Sun's sister had gifted them. If not, she said, she would file for divorce. "I saved money for you, and now I'm the bad guy, huh?" she yelled. "You think it's meaningful to pinch and save a few yuan here and there every day? If you're not happy, then don't live like this. Either make more money or end this marriage." The scene became chaotic and heartbreaking. What was meant to be a joyful new chapter in life, a marriage built on love and support, had now turned into a battlefield of greed, entitlement, and resentment. Mr. Sun, silent and heartbroken, could only sit and watch as the woman he once believed to be his life partner turned into someone completely unrecognizable, a person consumed by possessiveness and material desire over a house that was given out of pure family love. If you're still watching, comment one so I know you're still with me. For example, Xiao Yan said, "He always says we should save all the money. I think saving is good, right? But after saving it, where does the money actually go?" "Xiao Yan," the host asked, "you're the one who manages the household finances, right? So where's the money?" "Well," Xiao Yan hesitated, "something happened in my family. My eldest sister ran into some trouble with her business, and she needed money urgently, so I lent her 60,000 yuan. The host asked again, "Did you tell your husband?" "No," Xiao Yan admitted softly. It turned out that Xiao Yan's eldest sister's business was short on funds, so she borrowed 60,000 yuan from Xiao Yan. However, Xiao Yan gave the money behind her husband, Mr. Sun's back, without a written IOU, and without any agreement on when it would be repaid. When Mr. Sun found out, he was furious. Every time he brought up the matter, Xiao Yan would explode in anger and defend herself by saying, "We're family. She's my sister. Of course. She'll pay it back. Do you think she'd run away?"
因为都是亲戚嘛，我知道他肯定会还，他也不会跑路，因为不是说普通朋友。
"Because she's family, I know she'll definitely repay it," Xiao Yan argued. "She wouldn't run away. It's not like we're talking about some random friend. She's my sister. If family is in trouble, how can I not help?" Mr. Sun replied patiently, "It's fine to help, but first you didn't even tell me about it. Second, you only talk about being family when it benefits you. When it came to the house, my sister was also family, wasn't she? But back then you said you didn't feel secure because the house wasn't in your name. Well, now I don't feel secure either. Shouldn't I have a say in what happens to our money?" At that point, even the host couldn't stand by quietly anymore. "You live in your sister-in-law's house," the host said. "And just because your name isn't on the property certificate, you say you have no sense of security. Yet you secretly lend money to your own sister without an IOU or a repayment date, and somehow that's fine. Don't you see how double-faced that is? Isn't that a double standard?" Faced with the host's sharp words, Xiao Yan finally lowered her head, realizing she had indeed gone too far. Her arrogance from earlier vanished completely. Mr. Sun sighed. "When your sister borrowed the money, I didn't even say anything. But when I wanted to buy my parents a box of fruit, you didn't let me. I thought that since I didn't make a fuss about you lending money to your family, you'd treat my family better. But I was wrong. Some people just don't know gratitude." "What do you mean I didn't let you?" Xiao Yan snapped. "Every New Year or holiday, don't I always buy things? Did I ever miss a single meal at your parents' house? When we go shopping, who do we always buy more for, your family or mine?" Mr. Sun responded quietly. "Every time I go to visit my sister, you complain. Last time, when I picked up my little niece, she wanted a candied hawthorn, and you wouldn't even let me buy it. It was just a few yuan, Xiao Yan." Xiao Yan countered. "That's because it was cheaper at the next stall. Just a few steps away. Why not wait?" "So you'd rather make a child wait over a few yuan?" Mr. Sun asked. Xiao Yan replied coldly, "And what, your sister treats me so well?" Mr. Sun retorted, "Are you saying the cheaper candied hawthorn at the next stall is poisoned or something?" That exchange left the host and audience speechless. Mr. Sun pointed out that his wife was generous to her own relatives, lending large sums of money without hesitation. Yet when it came to his family, even something as small as buying his niece a treat, she became stingy and calculating. To save just 2 yuan, Xiaoyan would rather make a child wait, ignoring both kindness and decency. A woman who once appeared gentle and thoughtful now revealed herself as someone ruled by selfishness, double standards, and misplaced priorities, unable to see that sometimes the smallest acts of kindness mean far more than money ever could. "It's always about a few yuan," Xiaoyan snapped. "He's always like this every single day. We fight over these tiny little things. I just try to save money. Is that wrong?" she shouted. Mr. Sun retorted, "Yes, it's wrong." "I don't need you to save money for me," he said coldly. "Then fine," Xiaoyan exploded. "From now on, I won't save a damn thing. You go make more money yourself. If you can't earn it, don't blame me for trying to save. I try to save money for you, and somehow I've become the villain here." Faced with Mr. Sun's criticism, Xiaoyan's emotions spiraled out of control once again. The couple's argument grew even more heated, the atmosphere tense and suffocating. Seeing this, the host tried to divert the topic by asking a different question, one that unexpectedly hit a painful nerve. "Why haven't you two considered having children yet?" the host asked. After all, the arrival of a child often strengthens the emotional bond between husband and wife and brings them closer together. What seemed like an ordinary question unexpectedly touched on a sensitive subject, the true reason the couple still had no children, which turned out to be a painful story involving Mr. Sun's sister. "I was pregnant once," Xiaoyan began softly. "When I first found out, I was so happy, but that happiness only lasted for 2 days. One day, when I came home, I found all my cosmetics, my nail polish, my foundation, everything gone. I immediately thought of my sister-in-law. She often came to our house." Xiaoyan explained that she had once been pregnant, but before she could even enjoy the joy of expecting a child, Mr. Sun's sister threw away all her makeup and high heels, claiming it was for the baby's health. Xiaoyan was furious and confused, so she stormed off to confront her sister-in-law. "I was so angry that day," Xiaoyan recalled. "I went straight to the beauty salon where she works. I asked her, 'Why did you take my makeup? How can you touch my things without my permission?' She said, 'You're pregnant, why do you need those things anyway?' I told her, 'That's my decision, not yours.' We started arguing right there in the salon. When I stormed out, I didn't see the staircase and fell. That fall caused a miscarriage. However, instead of comforting his wife after such a devastating loss, Mr. Sun blamed Xiaoyan, saying her bad temper and emotional instability were the reasons she lost the baby. This cold response completely crushed Xiaoyan. Overcome with grief and rage, she screamed hysterically, letting out all the pain and resentment she had bottled up inside. At that moment, Mr. Sun's sister, who had been sitting quietly in the audience, could no longer hold back and finally stood up.
化妆品是我扔的。
对，为什么扔的？之前有没有跟他说过化妆品对胎儿不好啊，什么之类的？
她怀孕，你见过哪个孕妇去化妆穿10厘米的高跟鞋？我把鞋给。
Yes, I threw away her makeup, the sister admitted calmly. Why did you throw it away? The host asked. Did you talk to her beforehand? I told her many times that cosmetics are bad for the baby, the sister replied. She was pregnant? Have you ever seen a pregnant woman wearing makeup and 10-centimeter heels? I even threw away her shoes 10 centimeters high. The host nodded. It's understandable if a woman likes to look good, but during pregnancy, it's not really safe. The sister continued. Exactly. It's not that I wanted to control her, but she kept putting on makeup, dyeing her hair, and wearing nail polish while pregnant. I couldn't convince her, so I had no choice but to take matters into my own hands. I did it for her health and the baby's safety. She went on to explain that when the family learned Xiaoyan was pregnant, everyone was overjoyed. They had all gently reminded her not to use cosmetics or wear high heels anymore, but Xiaoyan ignored their advice and continued as usual. Out of concern for the baby, the sister-in-law had no choice but to visit and remove all potentially harmful items herself. Xiaoyan, however, was furious. Sister, I also work in the beauty industry. This is my profession, my pride. Her sister-in-law responded bluntly. I'm your boss. I have the right to expect professionalism. The host was surprised. Wait, did you just say boss? She works for you? Yes, the sister replied. She's been my company's receptionist for years. At that moment, everyone finally understood Mr. Sun's sister was also Xiaoyan's employer. The sister continued, her tone full of disappointment. Before they got married, she was such a good girl, kind, patient, careful with money. I never saw her act out. But that was when she worked for me, before she married my brother. After the marriage, she completely changed, arrogant, defiant, always calculating. It's like she's a different person now. She sighed deeply. She used to be someone I trusted completely. That's why I introduced her to my brother in the first place. I thought she would make him happy. But I was wrong. From being a thoughtful, humble employee to a domineering wife blinded by pride, Xiaoyan's transformation shocked everyone present, including the sister who had once believed she was bringing joy to her family.
这个房子不管我弟弟娶谁，我都是要给我弟弟的。你为什么不
This house, no matter who my brother marries, it will always belong to him, said the elder sister firmly. So why can't you just focus on being a good wife? Stay grounded and take care of my brother properly, right? When the time comes and you have a child, you won't need to worry about money at all. Xiaoyan lowered her head and replied softly, I just feel a bit inferior. The sister raised an eyebrow. Inferior? If you really felt inferior, would you be stepping out of someone else's luxury car? It turned out that after Xiaoyan had repeatedly asked for her name to be added to the property certificate but was refused, the sister-in-law began to notice something strange. She had seen Xiaoyan getting out of the same luxury car multiple times, each time looking nervous and uneasy. This behavior aroused deep suspicion in the sister. She began to believe that, after failing to secure her name on the property deed, Xiaoyan might be seeking comfort elsewhere, possibly looking for another man who could provide her with the material security she so desperately wanted. When confronted with these accusations, Xiaoyan hesitated and gave vague, evasive answers, claiming it was all just a coincidence that she had merely hitched a ride in the same car by chance. However, her explanation did nothing to convince the sister, who was certain of what she had seen with her own eyes. There's no mistake, the sister said coldly. I know what I saw. Indeed, Xiaoyan's behavior shocked everyone. From a once gentle and grateful bride, she had become a woman surrounded by controversy and doubt, someone whose every action now drew suspicion. And you, watching from behind the screen, what do you think about Xiaoyan's actions? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section below. That's all for today's story. Looking at Xiaoyan's story, we can clearly see a vivid reflection of today's China social trends, a society where material values often outweigh emotions, and trust within marriage is being tested every single day. According to the latest data from China's Ministry of Civil Affairs, the divorce rate in major cities has surpassed 46%, with over 30% of cases linked to financial disputes and property ownership. Many young couples lose the happiness they once cherished, not because of infidelity or incompatibility, but because of arguments over houses, money, and a sense of security. This is not just the story of one couple, it's a mirror of the broader reality within China's social trends, where people constantly struggle between love and interest, between trust and calculation. When material wealth becomes the ultimate measure of marriage, can genuine love still survive? What do you think? In a society where property, money, and status dominate, can a marriage built without material security truly last? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications to stay updated with the most compelling stories from modern China. Thank you for watching the video. See you again in the next one.